differently abled, differently.
Welcome back. To mark the special occasion, National Council for Persons with Disabilities hosted a gala night in honor of the remarkable achievement. Take a look.
As we focus on the past, present, and future of disability rights in Kenya, we celebrate the achievements of countless individuals who have made significant contributions.
If we were to look back, 20 years back, we would tell stories that we don't want to listen to today. If we look back 40 years ago, when we as the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya came into being, again, the history will be quite different. We look with pride to what this nation has achieved over the last 40 years. We know that there's so much to be done, but there's so much also that has been achieved.
How is disability interacting with different phenomena, culture, environment, levels of development, a number of things? Are there quite literatures around it?
I'm celebrating visibility of this space. You go in a part of this country, in the villages, today, disability is recognized by any sector.
It is through the efforts of such individuals that today, persons with disabilities enjoy the fruits of inclusion.
In 2011, I had just lost sight, and someone had advised me to visit the Kenya Society for the Blind. And my good teacher was Dan Njuguna, and now at the National Council. And I asked him, now, because I've lost sight, and I want to go back to work, and in between that space I was still having challenges because my employer had also started being jittery, and in the end anyway, he sort of retrenched me. I asked Dan, so now what do I do? And Dan advised me to reach out to someone. I had not met this lady. I had not talked to this lady. Dan gave me her number, a lady called Jane Wamogo, and said, reach out to this lady. She'll write for you a letter, a reference letter from the National Council for Persons with Disability. And with this letter, you can go with it to any other employer, and your doors will be open. I think that was my first interaction or hearing of the word National Council for Persons with Disability. And I truly thank Jane for indeed, she did write for me that letter, and from there, the rest is history.
If we are those who are making laws, have we made laws that is inclusive for all of us? Those of us who are implementing, executing those laws, are we honest with it? And what is our own individual roles in making the world a better place for all of us? The fact of the matter is, as I said earlier, we will pass the batons. Today we are privileged in serving in some of the offices. Tomorrow we might not have that privileges. The privileges that we have today is what will going to haunt us tomorrow.
In the context of that 9th Parliament, I was serving my first of 3 terms as a nominated Member of Parliament, and engaged substantially with the Persons with Disability Bill, because at that point, I was the opposition shadow minister for gender. My contribution then were personal and were based on personal research, because Parliament then did not have what they have now, which are strong committee systems and strong research systems. Because now you have the advantage of Parliament being stronger, committees being stronger, public participation being a legal requirement, in fact a constitutional requirement, that you'll be able to make changes now to the bill that you presented in the House.
You work without emphasizing whatever political parties belong to. And I think that is a strength of this movement, when you work without, saying I'm from this political party and I'm from that political party. just be the political party of persons with disabilities and just push the agenda, you know, everywhere.
With continued support and a focus on system-wide change, we are confident that Kenya will continue to make progress towards full inclusion for persons with disability in all aspects of life. I look forward to coming back here 20 years from now and celebrating with all of you that every single person that wants work, no matter what impairment or disability they may have, has access to it. Every single person is viewed and understood that in order for society to succeed, every member must play their role.
Our first concern was to remove physically handicapped people from the streets, to train them in simple crafts, to enable them to earn a living and to restore their personal dignity. We trained men in shoemaking. With women, we taught them how to clean used postal stamps, which we exported and earned them some money. We then undertook the exercise of getting physically handicapped children from homes where they were hidden and they were not allowed outside the houses. Basic education was followed by technical training through our workshops, where we trained disabled people in making assistive appliances such as calipers, kneecaps, and wheelchairs. I traveled around the world looking for contacts, knowledge, and help, joined World Rehabilitation International, and hosted the 17th World Rehabilitation Congress in Nairobi in 1992, when I was the president of the Congress.
The journey of disability inclusion in Kenya is a long one, and 20 years later, the National Council for Persons with Disabilities recognized individuals and organizations who have walked this journey.
For many of us, we always work towards giving a helping hand to the persons with disabilities in our families and our lives. But today, we honor many whose lives have been fully dedicated to the cause of disability.
We want to associate ourselves with the great work that the National Council of Persons with Disabilities is doing in Kenya to push policy work, to push so many pieces of work and interventions, but most importantly, bringing together social civil society organizations. We are very proud to be part of this journey. Our work are very much aligned with the priorities of the government, because that is where we want to see sustainability as well as transitioning happening.
We are celebrating the visibility and empowerment of persons with disabilities.
I went to school a little long ago. I was in Standard 1, 1960. My favorite teacher, Mr. Kimweli, who is about 79 years now, was a person with disability. But for us, he was such an able teacher, we didn't really see, you know, that disability or think it was something that made him different. And even part of why I decided that I was going to be a teacher is because he was a good example, he was a good mentor. And up to today, he continues to be my mentor. So I really think the power of what people do in the space they are in can be very influential.
In 1989, we had 3 organizations of persons with disabilities: the Kenya Union of the Blind, the Kenya National Association of the Deaf, and we had another organization which has since died called the Kenya Society of the Physically Handicapped. And this organization, out of an influence of an international disability organization we called DPI, Disabled People International, came together and said we needed to form a federation so that we can have a stronger voice. I also want to hail people like Kibwana and Amina who supported the bill, and we are glad that we are where we are because of that background.
I am happy that this law gave me my first government appointment at the age of 22. So asante sana Professor Amina Abdallah and all of those, because that is how I was appointed as a board member of this council.
And as persons with disabilities celebrate this progress, it is their hope that the next 20 years will be marked with stories of a fully inclusive society.
Disability in this country has been quite a progressive journey. Very progressive. Beautifully again.
The last 20 years has seen exponential growth in the self-representation of persons with disabilities within government. Our role is, as human beings, is not to pass through life, but to do one thing, to overcome evil. To overcome the evils that are meted against those with disabilities.
We have to look back. What has been happening for the last 20 years? What is our success story? What are the myths here and there? What can we do differently? Are the persons with disabilities in the grassroots, can they connect with our stories?
Interestingly, disability is the most expensive lifestyle, very, very expensive, to the person and to the family. And paradoxically, the disabled people are the poorest of the poor again. That is how life is. This wheelchair comes in classes, and it ranges from as low as 5,000 to as high as even 1 million. But the person who is using is the poorest. And who is making money then? The companies, of course. If we even rechange the narrative on disability to the concept of economies. If someone is blind, he uses expensive machine, to make him see, literally. If all those things are quantified and viewed as an industry, the economy of disability is way far bigger than what is affirmatively allocated to disabled people as tokenism and freebies.
Let us continue to strive for a society where everyone, regardless of their abilities, can reach their full potential.
When it comes to women with disabilities, our double tragedy is small. While other women out there are talking about discrimination, when we are talking very loud about the two-third gender rule, where is the position of women with disabilities? When we go to the counties, we want to vie for being a women rep, we are reminded, wait for the nomination, kuna viti za walemavu. When we come again in the sector, and I salute the men with disabilities who have been our mentors and our supporters. But again, when we come there, there is the issue of the gender, yet there is the sectionality whereby we are talking about disability in general. But then when it comes to the experience of a woman plus a disability, at the workplace, at the society where we are, it keeps becoming double.
Each of us in our offices and institutions should ensure that they make things better than they found them.
I met powerful women with disabilities who helped me identify myself, who helped me see that I can be a leader. And that is why this year, the theme for the International Disability Day is about the leadership of persons with disabilities. It's how when we put persons with disabilities in leadership positions, how will that translate to an inclusive society?
Let's take a look at the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
Article 1 of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities states that persons with disabilities include those who have long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments, which in interaction with various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in the society on an equal basis with others.
We hope that you've been inspired by these stories and their great milestone. Join us again for more empowering content. Until then, Let's continue to strive for a world that is more inclusive and accommodative for all. My name is Jane Thori. Goodbye.
We are here and we are strong. Let's be counted as we move on. Make a difference, change lives as we tell our different stories. We are capable, beautiful. We are born to do great things. We're unstoppable, incredible, 'cause we're differently abled, differently.